Look, I can't help but think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice.
Oh, not know. There's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice? Warm water, baby. It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
It is Fire and Ice coming at you live from Thorin's Tavern, 3309 Rich Beem. I probably got that wrong too because I think it's 3390 Rich Beem. Me and numbers not good, and I'm about to have alcohol introduced into my system, so it's going to be an interesting show. Mike Tipton joined by not Brandon the Iceman Cone, but Andrew J. Polk. He's going to sit in for Brandon as he meanders his way on down here. I think what we should do is have a live betting thing going on with us because
absolutely.
Brandon said he was going to get here at about 6:20. And y'all told me it said about 45 minutes, but it took you about an hour to get here. So I'm going to say Brandon gets here about 8:40 tonight.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Time to eat.
Yeah, as long as that's all it is, time to eat. That's what Brandon the Iceman Cone is going to be here for. Came on out here to Thorin's Tavern. I had to get a part of it. It is a $3 Shiners going on today with the pints as well. They've got $3 Ziegenbox. They've got $2.50 twisted teas, half off hot dogs. And I'm telling you right now, whenever Thorin told me about the hot dog, he said, look, we got 7-inch hot dogs. I was like, okay, now we got to ask. Men's 7 inches?
Yeah.
Or women's 7 inches? And they are women's 7-inch hot dogs. Okay, so these are real, actual 7-inch hot dogs, not Vienna sausage 7-inch hot dogs like we would like to pretend that they are.
I'm glad we didn't go on the metric system yet.
I would be even more confused. Numbers are not good for your boy. Okay, so in a little bit, we're going to be joined by Danny Hoben. He's going to be talking to us about what's going on with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They had themselves an interesting start to yesterday's game. I don't know if you gentlemen saw or not, but the game was delayed about an hour or so because of a huge beehive in the netting right behind home plate.
Like not like a swarm, but like a whole built beehive.
A beehive, yes.
How do you miss that?
And that's what I'm saying too. Like you had the entire game, like all day long, you could have led up to that moment where you could have looked into some of the things and been like, oh, hey, look, batting practice is happening right now, and there's a bunch of bees up there.
Anyone hear that buzzing? Yeah, like any of that.
But Danny's going to tell us about that. He's out there. He's been doing a few things for us. Danny on the Diamond is what we're calling him while he's out there in Arizona, making sure that he's having a fun time. The Arizona Diamondbacks are his favorite team. Right? That's the team that he loves. Now that he's living over there in the Phoenix, Tucson area, he's just going to be going to as many games as he can. I think they've played 12 home games, and he's been to 6.
Wow. Yeah, that's living the dream right there.
No, it's 100% living the dream. Okay, so a couple of things that happened. I think, should I ignore things or should I say them?
I mean, if you bring it up, you know you're going to bring it up.
Oh, there's always a reason why I do things, huh? Mm-hmm. Hey, no one knows me, or few people know me better than Andrew J. Polk. Okay, so obviously we have been missing from the iHeart airwaves over the last couple of weeks. The reason being is because apparently there's a new rule that says bartered programs cannot be live. And we are trying to work our way around some of these things, trying to figure out ins and outs of what may happen going into the future with iHeartRadio moving forward. But as for now, I kind of like the idea of us being able to, go out, do a show like this, pre-recorded, despite the fact that I did very bad planning and I'm about to be roasting here. You and I are about to both be roasting.
Oh, yeah, black was a bad choice.
Yeah, it normally is in El Paso in the summertime.
Yeah, I don't know how you forgot that.
Well, and for me, what I'm thinking of too is I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, but like the Major League Baseball jersey issue, where like they're all sweaty and stuff. Y'all are about to get a whole bunch of wet tip. That I knew I shouldn't have said it the second I said it.
It still works, at least through fabric quality. I'll say that.
Yes, it did. I had to get the moisture wicking.
Right. And it's not made of wet toilet paper, so you're already well ahead.
Ooh, the wet toilet paper part. A little shot there at the MLB. Okay.
I mean, they skimped on those, and there's no justification for it. I mean, the fact that you can see like non-exhibitionist style outlines of the underwear through these jerseys and uniforms is like, what? Who okayed this? Someone who didn't have to use them, obviously.
I love how you're walking the line of what it is. You can see dick prints.
Yeah.
In like you can see dick print and camel toe, and I guarantee you that the ratings for baseball have got to be going through the roof with like the women. I would say like not even younger women, but like 50 to 80.
Listen, with the resurgence in women's sports happening, they have to do something to try to reclaim that audience, and that's how they're doing it. So, okay, as opposed to being just off of the business decisions, I guess we got some prescient wizards happening over at Fanatics and the MLB making these decisions, saying like, wait, no, okay, the forecast says these ratings are going to go up. We got to compete somehow. So, hey, everybody, better work on those packages because they're going to be on display.
I'm gonna say you better pump that fucker up. That's the main thing that you should be doing right now. Our friend Shannon McKnight saying, "Burn, baby, burn." Yeah, we're about to. Andrew brought it up to my mind. I don't know why. Like I forgot what direction the sun sets. I was like, oh, west is that way somewhere, right? And I feel like it was a miscalculation because west is directly in front of me, and it is going to be searing my eyes.
I mean, you get the nice branding behind us there. Those
Yeah,
of us with us on social media, we got the nice Thorin's Tavern right behind us. So everything works except the sun.
Well, like I told you, so what I'm going to do is I'll probably remove the hat whenever it's golden hour, right? You'll get to see the change in my eyes. Like my eyes are actually auburn, so you'll get to see that a little bit more. Like I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Maybe we zoom in, so you'll get to see like the auburn hints in my eyes, where you'll fall more in love.
We'll get some fan cam action going.
There's a joke there that would be made on Bob, Jim, and Pat that I am not going to make right now. Just know that there was just know that there was a group of people that reached out to me to promote a website called FapChat.
Oh no! I immediately didn't want to know any more about that.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I turned them down. There's a little bit.
Really?
I think they found my line, right? They're like, there's not a product out there that I won't push. I think the thing that I was trying to do was get them to do Blue Chew because Blue Chew does a thing with Fox Sports, and I was like, hey, why not, right? Like let's keep the branding going. And then the next thing I know is like, hey, how about you sponsor these OnlyFans models? I was like, nah, you know what, I'm good. And then the next thing was like, how about you sponsor this FapChat thing? And I had to think about it there for a second because I haven't heard that phrasing in quite some time.
Yeah, that's like 2000s internet phrasing right there.
And I had to think to myself, I was like, what do they mean by this? I was like, is it really that? And I was like, I'm not going to look it up because
then that's in your browser history,
yeah.
And then you start getting those ads, and then you're just screwed. Yeah.
Okay, so coming out here to Thorin's Tavern, I'm going to get the address right this time. 3390 Rich Beem Boulevard. The drink specials that we have going on tonight, $3 Shiner, $3 Ziegenbach Draft Pints, $3 Rumpelmints, which, oh my God, I don't know if you've been inside yet. They have a huge sign that says, that talks about the rumps. I think it's like the rumps is always right or something like that. $2.50 Twisted Tea, $3 Fire and Ice shots. That's a special shot they made specifically for us. And I have to find a way to like get Brandon to take it unknowingly.
Tell him it's free. He probably will.
Yeah, that right there is a deep cut. And then, of course, the half-off hot dogs all day long. Real 7-inch hot dogs. Real 7-inch hot dogs. Not those little baby hot dogs.
Construction 7 inches.
There we go. Oh, yeah. A full plump when you cook them 7-inch hot dog. Okay. So part of the things that we had to meander over the last couple of weeks, obviously not being able to do the show on iHeartRadio. And then came the proverbial shit show that happened whenever it came to trying to go to the NFL draft. Yeah. And the thing that happened with us in the NFL draft was the same thing that happened last year, only this time I couldn't drive out there because it was a 26-hour drive, a full 10 hours more than what it took me to do Kansas City last year, right? And there was a part of me that was like, if they had just postponed this flight maybe 3 hours earlier, I would have done it. I 100% would have done it. Jump in the Mustang, tell Brandon he can either make it or not make it, and then we're going to head on out over to Detroit. However, with about an hour before our flight, we get the notification that our flight is going to be delayed by a full 2.5 hours. We miss our connector in Dallas, and then there wasn't going to be another flight out of Dallas to Detroit until the next morning, and it wouldn't have landed in Detroit in time for us to pick up our credential. We would have landed an hour later than what it would have been for us to get our credentials. So we would have had to pay $450 each to get into the crowd just to hang out with the experience of it. If it's Vegas, I'm doing it.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. That's worthwhile in its own right.
Detroit, not so much. I can miss the mom spaghetti this time. Maybe I'll go to Detroit next year whenever we make our plan up to Green Bay, whenever the NFL draft is held over there. I know one thing's for sure: I'm leaving a week early.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
America. I normally, tread lightly when it comes to the potential of losing sponsorships. American Airlines, you can go fuck yourself. All about there is nothing more I hate in this world right now. I even made a list that I was going to put out there, things I hate, and at the top of that list was American Airlines.
Top 5 items were American.
No, it was American Airlines. All like how I have my man crush of 100. It was American Airlines up to 99, and then Hitler at 100. Like that's where American Airlines ranks with me right now, David. I'm sorry. I think it's the first time I saw David disappointed in me.
No, not at all. Any airline that's at least includes all of its nuts and bolts, I'll take a second look at.
But the thing is they were real quick at getting me the reimbursement. They were real quick.
You have that already because you're definitely not getting it now.
No, and that's why I decided to go this route, because last year they didn't give it to me at all.
Really?
Not at all. And then the miles they gave me wasn't enough to even get me a ticket. So I was like, okay, and I think it was like 1,000 miles short of giving me a ticket to get to Detroit.
Just like that.
Yeah, it was like, come on, guys, like y'all screwed me last year.
Come on,
and
just the tip.
And and I was extremely optimistic this time. I was like, they're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. What are the odds that 364 days later we're going to have the same exact problem? And it was the same exact problem, I tell you what. But this time again, like I couldn't make the drive out to Detroit. I was tempted to. There was a part of me that said, if I made it to Kansas City, what's another 10 hours? I drove all the way to Alaska and back. So
yeah, but you slept during that one, didn't you?
The first 2.5 days I didn't. I didn't sleep until we got to somewhere in Canada where I've never felt this feeling before, and I hope to never feel this feeling again, where I could feel both of my eyes moving in the opposite direction. And I said to myself, this is probably a good time to pull over.
Getting some chameleon eye going on.
Oh yeah, it was both eyes became lazy. I couldn't see eye to eye with anybody. So I was like, this is not to be driving. Yeah, no, and that was the whole decision, is I ain't gonna drive anymore whenever I went up there to Alaska, doing all the stuff that I had to do up in Alaska. But I wanted to make that drive. There was a part of me that said I really need to make this drive. Yeah. But I had also spent so much that there was a part of me that's like, at least I can get the stuff reimbursed.
Yeah, that's true. And I do have to say, and again, if you're not following us over on social media, you absolutely need to do so. Again, Fire and Ice are Mr. Tipton33 on most social medias. I love how everyone became a logistics expert instantly on that post there. Someone saying, what about trains? And okay, there's a whole discourse going on about trains around here. And sure, we got them running through Paso, part of the history. That we're taking 45 hours?
56.
56, there
56 hours. So someone was like, why didn't you leave the day earlier? Because, that never crossed my mind, right? Given what happened last year, how come you didn't leave just simply a day earlier? And I was like, I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And that job involves, and I don't say it all the time, but I'm a teacher, right? So, I have certain guidelines that I have to do. We have blackout dates. And that Tuesday before the draft was a star testing day for algebra. So I could not leave. We had to be there for, support and doing all that stuff, especially at the high school level.
And somebody's got to proctor those exams. Make sure that they're not getting the answers off the back of my hand. I guess the dates me.
And how dare you rely on a major transportation company to do the thing that it exists to do?
Well, and my thing is I get it, man. So Byron Dalrymple, who said that, he is my, I guess, cousin, right? That's what it would be. My father's sister's child would be my cousin, right? Yes. But the dynamic. Dave, I don't know how much you know about the dynamic that I have in my family. I'm adopted. My father is 94 years old. That means his sister is 92. So Byron Dalrymple is about 60, in the 60s at the lowest end of what it could be, right? So I get it. Maybe in the 1950s, back then, train was a viable option. There was no way. There's just no way in hell. And then I just for shits and gigs, I looked up what the price on a ticket to go to Detroit on a train was, and it was about $1,700.
Yeah, I believe it.
And I thought about that. Not only am I making the trip exponentially larger, but also incrementally more expensive than what it needs to be. And I can't imagine me. And like, I love traveling, but I love being in control of a lot of things. That's why I don't like flying all the time. I'd rather drive if I can, because I could not imagine myself cooped up in one of those sardine cans that you would call a train station, right? Or even like the cabin of the train, just hearing the clickety clack. And then what happens if like me and Brandon, like we don't get a seat together? So now I got to sit next to some random ass person and try to make chit chat for 56 hours. I don't like sitting by myself, with myself for 56 hours. I couldn't imagine the person next to me.
So wait, that 1,700 wasn't even for a cabin; it was just for a regular.
Just a regular ass seat.
Because like cabins,
and one meal a day. One meal a day.
One meal a day. So like prison rations. No, it's fantastic.
and I was thinking to myself this too. I was like, there are people out there, they're afraid of flying, and train is the option. You got to swallow the bullet, right? Like you got to just fly. Like take whatever medicine, get whatever it is that you need, have them wheel you on and off the plane as you're comatose, but you got to fly, because that's an insane amount of like additional time. It was an 8-hour flight.
Yeah. I mean, we just had family come through as well, and they were coming from the opposite side of Canada, from Detroit. They were coming from a Buffalo area, and they literally were getting wheeled on and off the plane. They're of that age here, and so that was, train wasn't even a viable option, because that would have been like 3 days, like straight up 72 hours of travel, and I don't think they even considered it. I just looked it up for funsies, and no way in hell.
Did you do the same thing? You saw someone say, "Hey, what about train?" And you were like, "Let's see it.
Let's see how it look." Oh God, no.
My mother, before she passed away, she said she always wanted to ride a train across Canada. I don't know what the obsession with riding a train across Canada would have been, but I sit here and I think to myself, Canada is much wider and much larger than people think, right? Like it's bigger than the United States, much more landmass than the United States. I could not imagine at her age, whenever she passed away, she was 84 years old. So I can't imagine an 84-year-old woman being comfortable on a train for what would feel like weeks on end.
Okay, look, we're talking about coach travel here. I mean, we're comparing essentially, the idea of flying. Take the idea of it when it was, flying in like the 50s, when it was like nice or catered. That's what train travel is supposed to be, and what it is in like Europe and other civilized countries. What they do is that you get the cabin, you have a place to sleep, and then it's like you get to walk around. You get to be mobile. You get to like, go to the cafe, go to the viewing deck, do all that. Those are the like nice train journeys. But like as a commuter service, we're, way too used to like, MTA or, rapid transit and those kind of things where it's just, all right, sardine can go.
Shannon McKnight saying bus.
Greyhound, yeah, no, totally better and viable.
You know what? That sounds like a living nightmare. We're going to learn a lot about Mike Tipton today. Okay, so whenever I finally got to meet my biological mother, I was 16 years old, and she came into town on a Greyhound bus. And I had never been to the Greyhound station. Like I remember, hearing the stories like, oh, it's a Greyhound station. You do all the Greyhound stuff. Maybe it's going to look nice, right? And I remember walking in, because this is like at midnight, right? And it wasn't as dirty as what it normally would be, I assume, right? So I'm like, this doesn't look so bad. Like it doesn't look half bad at all. And then people started coming off the bus and walking by me. And just the festering smell of it all was just incomprehensible to me. And I am the youngest of 11 with about 60 nieces and nephews, and a lot of them lived in my parents' house at the same time. I also grew up on a farm milking cows and goats, and that was a more atrocious smell than what I grew up with. And I knew to myself that I was never, ever, ever in my life going to subject myself to riding a bus that long. If you want to call me a diva because of that, I'm fine with it. I am glad to be a diva in this case. I will never ride a bus because I can't stand the smell of myself when I don't shower for like 10 hours. I can't imagine people that are on the bus traveling at a lower rate of speed than a train for longer than what the train would have done, making more stops in just random ass places in a sardine can, once again, just really sealing in the flavor of all those smells.
It makes us wonder what the bus rides for the team members of the Film League and our own were like.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean,
at least the team was in control of it. Could be like, hey, we need to pull over. Let's go to a restaurant on the mass market bus. No, we're going.
But you know what? Like the thing that I would counter that with is we're also talking about like the 1930s where everyone is expected to smell bad.
That's true. I mean,
like hygiene was not where it needed to be as Brandon the Iceman Cone meanders away from us for whatever reason.
I mean, the rabbi's here. What am I supposed to do? You got room for 2 rabbis?
I will say this, and you guys can do whatever it is you want to do. I'll turn these down so we're not slamming microphones against the table, which, as y'all know, is my number one pet peeve.
More than travel.
No, well, you know what? Yeah,
Microphones
it's
down or what?
right now. It's American Airlines, and then slamming my microphones down onto the ground.
First off, that was loud. First off, let's just say this much. You know, from now on, we're leaving Tuesday. You know, obviously, okay. We're not leaving. You know, and next year we're gonna stay at my uncle's in Chicago. We got a place to stay for a couple nights. You know,
Nice.
FYI, he lives like 10 minutes from the airport. And then, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, American Airlines. They're no good. I mean, they really aren't.
Brandon is sugarcoating it. I said it earlier, and I've got no problem reiterating this statement because I don't mind if we ever lose them as a potential sponsor. American Airlines, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, kiss my ass because you know the last 2 years in a row I haven't gotten in the draft because of you. Okay, first of all.
Well, and like I told Andrew, and like obviously you were being a good, decent human being, not listening to Facebook Lives or YouTube or Twitch or any of that stuff. But you didn't get to hear me say that, Brandon. Had they told us even 3 hours earlier,
yeah, we would have.
I'd have told you, let's get in the car, and drive over there.
Yeah,
and I'd have made that drive. You didn't have a hernia surgery this time.
No.
That was the reason. So
I couldn't make an excuse. That was last year. Remember? I got out of the 16-hour drive. Thank God. You know what I mean?
So you wouldn't do it.
What do you mean? Drive to Detroit?
Yeah, you wouldn't have driven to Detroit?
I mean, for you, I'll do anything. I just slept 40 minutes over here for you because I love you, you know? So for you, I'll do a lot. But I mean, Jesus, would we have made it on time, though? Again, that's a 25, 26-hour drive. You said we had to be there by 4, right?
Yeah, so and that's the thing,
man.
right? So they told us at 3 o'clock that our flight was going to be delayed by 2 hours. They tell us at noon.
Technically, it was only delayed. It kept getting increments of 15 minutes. First, it was 5:07 to 5:30. Then it was 5:45. Then it was 6. Then it was. Once it got to be 6, I called you. I said, "Dude, we got a problem." You remember that? I'm like, we're going to get screwed again. Yeah. And then once I saw 7, I was like, well, we might as well just call them and cancel. You know what I mean?
The P.20 saying that Spirit Airlines is the GOAT. You know what? I'd rather do Spirit Airlines at this point. I went this far, and you guys know I deal with like manic depression. So whenever I get into these manic episodes, I just go all out. Right? I was looking into buying my own plane. And taking flight lessons and things like that. I know a guy. His name is Timo Schwegman. He was in the German Air Force whenever they were here stationed in El Paso. He's still here. He's got 3 planes. He told me that I can borrow one of them whenever I need to, and that he'll give me the lessons. And learning from a German Air Force pilot, I think, is as good as learning from anyone else. So why not go do all the things I need to do, pass my test, get my own goddamn plane, and then make sure things like this don't happen. Because like you said, we ain't leaving Tuesday.
Yeah.
You can leave Tuesday.
Okay.
My goofy ass is leaving Sunday.
Okay.
If I got to sleep in a car, if I got to sleep in a taxi, if I got to sleep at a fucking Greyhound station, it's going to happen.
As long as your lessons aren't shizer, then I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they are anyway.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I think Tuesday's a good compromise. You know, I mean, Jesus. I mean, we here's the thing. You know, it's funny because we I'm gonna wipe up that wetness for you there. We Tuesday, okay, we go to O'Hare, right? This is next year for Green Bay. We spend Tuesday night and Wednesday night, in the Chicagoland area with Uncle Joe. You met Uncle Joe.
Yeah,
on the show once.
Yeah.
And then we
can also hang out with our friend Jay Hood.
Yeah, my mom, she lives there. She's going to want to see us too. My brother. And then we're going to take the 3-hour drive to Green Bay. You know what I mean? So Tuesday works, and then we only miss a couple days. You know what I mean?
I don't care how I'm getting to Green Bay. If I gotta
are you taking America? We gotta take Southwest next year.
We've
Southwest, got any. Maybe don't bet on Southwest right now. Just saying.
Well, they still go to O'Hare in Chicago.
Well, what I would say is literally anything other than American Airlines is what I'm doing right now. And Brandon, you missed this, but there was a terrible miscalculation on my behalf. That thing is going to boil us.
That's okay. Yeah, because I'm glad I brought a hat.
But what I was going to say is, look at how beautiful my eyes look in that sun.
Yes, I've never seen your eyes before. Well, the thing is that I saw them fast. I went inside. I was like, where are they? On the patio. Oh, great. Well, I'm like, I didn't bring a hat, and I didn't bring my sunglasses in the car. I was about to go get them, but I said, I'll screw it, I'll just.
If you need to go get them, go get them.
Yeah. Should I get a hat too?
If you have one in the car.
I may have a hat. It's a stupid looking hat. I'll be right back. You're going to like this hat. It looks like I'm like Lawrence of Arabia. I'll be right back. You'll enjoy this.
I was about to say.
Version of a head wrap.
Yeah, like I'm
very curious to see what happens now.
I'm concerned.
That too.
I feel like this is going to be a terrible miscalculation on our behalf of Brandon the Iceman Cohen offending somebody. with if he comes. Oh man, we got to make a bet on this one too. Like obviously I was wrong. He showed up 6 minutes late, which beats your guys' time somehow.
I mean, yeah.
But like maybe they're cleaning up the wreckage as y'all were driving down here, and then Brandon just caught the smooth sailing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, driving over the rubble.
But what I would say is like I think we need to make a bet here on whether or not Brandon comes in with an accent, because I feel like that's a high probability.
I'll take the under on that.
You're taking the under on Brandon coming in with an accent?
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a shout out to our guy, Enrique Carmona, who is tuned in right now as well. He's one of our friends over at Union Draft House, which is the one over here on Tierra Este, over here on the far east side of El Paso. I do feel bad a little bit because I made Andrew, Brandon, and Daver drive all the way out here, but this is like minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes from my
I
house.
mean, it's your hood. I understand you can't always do everything far away from your place, but I'm just saying that one star's life. It was supposed to take me 45 minutes to get here. It took me a damn near hour and a half to get here. Just because of.
Well, you're riding the moped.
Yeah, and stuck in traffic. It doesn't matter what you're riding.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100. Oh, you know what? That's not that bad.
It's not that, but it is
no.
Lawrence of Arabia. It's because it protects my neck.
Okay, so here we go.
We'll
We'll let Brandon put on the
This is the
headphones
only hat I
before I
have in the
turn
car.
them on.
And now you got to figure out the logistics of the hat with the headphones.
I was about to say this is gonna be interesting.
Okay, pro tip: you put the brim up.
Yeah, aren't you clever? Oh yeah, there you go. You're
Not,
smart
not
as they
that
make.
side of it, but okay.
Now, how stupid am I going to look with this? There we go. That's what. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, there we go.
We'll get you eventually.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
You technically only need one side of it. Again, if you're not following Fire and Ice on social
There
media,
we go.
you are missing
Actually, you know
out.
what? Let me just put these on first, and then I'll put the hat over that. There we go.
There we go.
Oh God, that was
There
clever.
we
Aren't I
go.
clever? There we go. Oh, now it fits for crap. Okay, that's great. Yeah, we're just going to do this. There we go.
Yeah, you're cadet. It's fine.
It looks like you got a CPAP on now.
At least it fits.
you,
Next time, let me know we're going to be in the sun, so I'll bring a
Didn't know
hat.
you were a follower of Blue Deep there. Yeah.
well, I didn't know that we were going to be out in the sun. Shannon McKnight saying the ice is melting right now.
Oh yeah, no, there are several things out here that
As-
with full shock device and it is just gone.
Yeah.
As fair skinned as Brandon the Iceman Cone
Yeah, I didn't
is.
bring my sunscreen either because I don't tan.
But did you get a workout today?
Yeah, I just came from the gym.
So there you go. So now you're gonna get to it's like a sauna. So I was looking out for your health. That's
Thank
what I was
you.
doing.
Dry sun.
Thank you.
Yeah, dry sauna.
If we don't go to Detroit, at least we'll get to do this together. This
Also
is
known as
wonderful. Thank you.
Some of the dehydrator.
I really missed you. It's been a few weeks since I've seen you, actually.
New product coming up, Brandon Jerky.
Buy one, get one half off.
Some people have been jerking Brandon for
Yes,
years.
They have, including American Airlines.
Need a graphic with just the sponsors no longer viable for Fire and Ice, and we'll have American Airlines, Greyhound buses, just crossed off.
Jonathan Hood saying that he had a solution to our problem. It should have been 1 plane, 2 Ubers, 3 trains. He took an Amtrak from Southern Illinois University to Chicago. It was nice. He kept thinking that it was a very old-timey murder mystery novel type, and then 4 bus. That would be the order. So
Yeah.
plane, Uber,
Trains and
train,
automobiles.
and bus. Could you imagine the price of an Uber?
Yeah.
From
Southern Illinois?
No. From here
To Chicago?
to Detroit.
Detroit. Let's see. A couple thousand?
Calculate that. Yeah,
Couple
no,
$1,000?
You know there's going to be one guy out there that's like, you know what? Let me do it.
Yeah. I mean,
I think someone did like I may have been like one of those internet niche celebrities or whatever who did like a cross country one and kind of like screwed the guy over that did the driving because I was going to get back. He's not.
Good point. Well, I mean,
Man,
you know, and that
yeah.
I've taken the drive. You know, my stepfather's a Saluki. He went to Southern Illinois, a nice area, Carbondale, Illinois. That's about a 6-hour drive from Chi. So I mean, it's not terrible. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? But that Uber from here to Detroit, Vase a mirror. I mean, you know, you better be making a lot of shekels.
Even that, yeah, it's going to be a little hefty. I'm sure.
A little bit, a lot hefty.
Again, we are out here at Thorin's Tavern, 3390 Rich Beem Boulevard. The specials today, we got the $3 Shiners and $3 Ziegenbach Draft Pints, $3 Rumplemans, $2.50 Twisted Teas, and the $3 Fire and Ice Shot, and of course, half off hot dogs all day long. And Brandon,
Yes.
they're your perfect style of hot dogs. They're an actual long,
Oh.
7-inch, nice, thick, juicy dog that you can just wrap your mouth around.
Oh, I like long ones. And juicy ones too. That's perfect for me.
Somehow, and that's
Yes. How did you know? But you've always known this, though, right?
Well, that's the only reason why we're friends.
Thank God, right? There's got to be some reason for it. Other than that, I don't know why you'd associate with me, to be honest with
Yeah, well, we go searching for them together.
you. Hey, I bet you're gonna have one after the show.
I'm gonna have more than one.
Maybe two.
Yes.
Since they're half off.
Yes. Okay. So our friend Danny Hoben has not returned any of my messages, despite the fact that I told him to be ready at this time. That jerk. He is just moved out to Phoenix, but he's been doing a bunch of stuff with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hopefully, he joins us a little bit
Was he
later
at the
on
B game?
today. Yes, he was.
Okay, I thought so.
And I'm
It's
glad.
insane.
I'm glad that you actually pay attention to
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
I told Andrew and Daver about it, and they were both giving me this look like I have no idea what you're talking about, there, guy.
Yeah. That was an ugly looking, hive or whatever they were. They were all. It was close to home plate, I think. And the MVP of that game was the beekeeper.
Well, the thing that I want to know is how do you get to that point?
I don't know.
Like
That's
it's
crazy.
not like they just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, right. They started accumulating. And I don't know what they were attracted to or whatever. I mean, but I do know that.
You
there's
know what
a
it
lot of
was?
bees.
It was Danny.
Yeah, for sure.
They were
It was
attracted
Hoben.
to Danny. He was at
It
the
was-
stadium.
It was definitely him.
Yeah. 100% of the times that Danny has been there to watch the Dodgers play the Diamondbacks, bees have been there, attracted to Danny.
To be or not to be?
100%.
That is the question.
It was
what I mean?
beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was before he got there. The bees nuts. No, those bees, they can be something. What?
Bees nuts.
Well, instead of bees nuts, you say bees.
Oh,
See if I
okay.
can drink here.
Yeah, there you go. Get a little bit of. You look extremely uncomfortable. Do you need to adjust yourself?
Well, here's the thing. This thing sucks. That's why I don't ever wear this hat.
Put it to the back.
It's one of these like reserve hats that you don't fit your head. As you can see, true that.
Yeah.
But even without the headphones, it fits for shit. Hence the reason why it's in the back, of my car as a spare, as a fire and ice hat, sitting in the 90-degree sun. But next time, assuming whatever we're going to be here or wherever, I need to bring a hat. I need to have a better hat like that in my bag.
Well, and this one, like I'm just counting down the moments until that Carl's Jr. right here blocks the
If
sun.
it was a double decker, we'd be in good shape.
Oh man, we need it to be. Carl's Jr. do better. Make a bigger buildings or Hardee's, whatever part of the country you're from. That's what the building is, and I'm hoping in the next few minutes we'll be able to save us from this thing that is burning my eyes out. I remember making the joke, right? Like during the eclipse, you're not supposed to look at the sun.
Right.
And this whole time I'm doing my best to not look at the sun, but it's literally the only thing in my eyes.
Well, it's right there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of in the way. I can look at you, but I'd rather look at the sun. So I mean, it's like look at Tip for the next 30 minutes.
Son of
or
a
look at
bitch,
the
you stole
sun,
my joke.
And if we had done it the opposite way, then we wouldn't have been able to see. No one would have been able to see us because of the sun. Now, I guess we could have done it over there. On the
Well,
AstroTurf.
we had gone over there. Andrew scattered it out for us, and it was in the sun longer than this was.
it was already in the sun before.
Yeah.
Now
So
my assumption is that they just wanted us to be out here because we're too loud, or
no. So well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a part of that. So again, it was my miscalculation. I told him, it's a nice day.
yeah.
I thought the sun was setting down that way, and I figured, okay, it's going that way. By the time it gets to the level that it's going to be kind of by our eyes, the sun's going to be blocking, or the mountain's going to be blocking a little bit.
A navigator, you are not.
And the crazy thing is like,
But a brander he is. I mean, look at that beautiful.
yeah, I mean, look at that, and it's lit up perfectly right now. My eyes are super shiny whenever I don't look in the direction of the sun. Which, oh my
They
god,
are.
it is directly in my damn face. And Andrew said it perfectly. Like the squinting, you can't see the color of my eyes.
Oh yeah.
I was
like eyelashes.
I was bragging about the color of my beautiful auburn eyes, and this is the one time that I can't show them off because even with the sunglasses, I can barely keep them open.
Yeah, and I'm glad I brought mine because that was the first thing I thought when I came out here. I was like, wow, well, this is interesting because I went inside assuming we'd be inside, and they're like, nope, they're outside. I'm like, okay.
Well, the reason why I didn't want to do it inside is because it's dark inside.
It's dark.
And
It's kinda
there would have been it would have been too many lights and stuff like that. Now we got too much light.
a little bit too much, but it's okay. At least we're together and we're back.
Yes, and that's what matters after what 3 weeks now.
3 weeks.
Wow, man. Oh, there's so much I want to say that I'm not going to say right now because I have to try to be a nice person.
A mensch.
Well, here's something else to talk about. Here,
Fuck me.
Uber will not give me the price because they want me to confirm it in advance, but it'll be a 30-hour Uber ride. Experience is right.
So then,
How's it longer in
6
Uber?
hours.
I mean, pickups
Got to
and
stop and all that. They
yeah,
probably
but-
calculate
yeah,
it
they
now.
won't show me the price until I reserve it. So I am
Make that trip, man.
Yeah, no, I ain't got the I'm assuming $5,000 this is gonna cost.
give Sarah a break.
And that's one way, by the way. That's one way.
Jesus, yeah. Fuck, man.
El Paso to Detroit. But, I mean, I don't know if they'll even give it to me as I Google it, but
Yeah, no, there's no other price estimator tool, and they are not giving it to me.
yeah.
Okay. So that's fine. We know whatever number it's going to be. It's going to be astronomical.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be a lot.
So Brandon, you had mentioned a couple of things that you wanted to talk about in our chat a little bit earlier today. You wanted to go over the Dallas Cowboys and their draft. I love the fact that they got Guyton, the offensive lineman. I feel like that's one of the things that they needed to do. The thing for me, and I even put it in my mock draft. I had the Cowboys drafting Michael Penix in the first round. I could have never thought that the Atlanta Falcons were going to take him in number 8, which was just amazing to me.
Right.
But I thought that if the Cowboys don't get themselves a quarterback to replace what's going to happen with Dak Prescott in the future, because he's going to be demanding $60 million as he goes forward, that at least what they can do is address the offensive line, address the defensive line, address the linebacking core. Cornerback, safety, I thought they were okay at. Running back, maybe, but you don't need to draft a running back. Let's face it. And then they got Zeke Elliott back. That's a guy that can punch it into the end zone. I feel like they're okay at the running back place. Where they really needed to get help at, I feel like they addressed.
Sure, to some extent. I mean, yes and no.
I feel like that deep breath was to be like, "You stupid son of a bitch."
Well, I mean, they didn't. Yes, you are. But
Wow.
that's a given. But I mean, they did and they didn't because Guyton was a decent pickup, but that's not his natural position. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for him to make the side change. But I mean, it can be done. Is he a first round pick? Sure. Did they get a decent amount for swapping with Detroit? Yeah. Did they need a center more? Probably, because they've gotten the Pro Bowl centers in the past.
But they got a center.
Yeah, they do. I know. But to me, there was still a guy available that they passed up on who was one of the best centers in the draft. So I feel that it's a decent first round pick. Yes, they needed to. I like the kid from Notre Dame, the foul. I like the defensive back. They obviously struggled last year, albeit Diggs was out for most of the year. They needed another wide receiver because obviously Gallup left to the Raiders. But to me,
But I mean, Gallup didn't do much anyway, and we kept Brandon Cooks.
He did. Cooks is good. I like Cooks. To me, though, there was some decent. The kid from Texas was a really good running back. They could have potentially picked up. Re-signing Zeke Elliott is not the answer. I mean, that's regression. I mean, Michael Irvin's still available too. So I mean, come on, don't give me that notion.
No, it's not.
He finished.
Gave him the carries.
He did, but that's why you got rid of him for a reason, though.
But they didn't get rid of it. They just didn't re-sign him.
They didn't.
Right? I think what it was is, and again, you're right. Maybe it is a little bit of regression. The Dallas Cowboys should have never let him walk anyway. I felt that way. I felt like you should have gotten rid of Pollard instead of putting the franchise tag on Pollard. You could have put that on somebody else, see how things go in the future, and you keep Zeke Elliott because he was the guy that had 12 touchdowns 2 years ago. Right, he's still a guy that can get into the end zone. If I'm not mistaken, he had 8 touchdowns last season.
He did okay.
So he can punch into the end zone.
Starting running back still?
No, he's not going to be the starting running back. But that's because you got guys. I think that the Cowboys are doing it the right way right now. Right, you're not going to spend a ton of money. You're not going to spend a ton of money on a running back because they are interchangeable. So now you got Deuce Vaughn, you got Rico Dowdle, the guy that you signed from Tampa Bay, Freeman, and then of course you got Zeke Elliott. So now you got 4 running backs there with the Dallas Cowboys that you can have running back by committee. Deuce Vaughn, whenever he's healthy, is the fastest man in the NFL. And to me, that's something that you can have.
How much starting running back experience does he have?
Well, he's his second year.
Okay, I understand, but the point is, all the guys you mentioned,
oh my, okay,
none of them are showstoppers. None of them are going to be.
How much starting running back experience does Zeke Elliott have his first year when he had 1,800 yards?
Zeke is Zeke. I mean, but he's also lost a step. Every year for the last few years, he's declined. And granted, he was not a starter.
I knew you were going to make me mad today.
Because, you asked me to come and schlep all the way out here. I mean, look, the bottom line is that if you're a Cowboys fan, unfortunately, if you are a Cowboys fan, not only are you screwed this upcoming year, but bury yourself in a hole over here, because not only did they have, I'm not going to say a shitty draft, but I gave them about a C in the draft. I just didn't love their draft. But then they end up, not getting a running back. Just because they didn't get a running back, you got to go after a friggin' running back. You got to get somebody. Like I said, the kid from Texas was still available in the second round.
But you don't like running backs don't have value anymore. They're so interchangeable. Like that. That's the thing that. Okay, you get a Derrick Henry out of there. Austin Eckler was an undrafted free agent, right? You're talking about really good running backs out there who are not top tier draft picks, and you can just interchange these guys all over and over. Rico Dowdle last year, despite injuries, despite not being the featured back, still had over 500 yards and 6 touchdowns for the Dallas Cowboys. This is a guy that I feel like if you give him the ball, I just did a Chris Collinsworth here. This is a guy right here. But
you give him the ball.
If you give him the ball, you make him be the featured back. He gets spelled by Deuce Vaughn, who's going to be your scat back, your third down back, and you got Zeke as your power guy to run the ball in whenever you need it to happen. That's what you got. And then you got Freeman, who's going to be there just whenever you need that fourth guy, because obviously one of these guys is going to get injured, which are probably not going to be Zeke, but one of those guys, Dowdle and Vaughn, is probably going to get injured at some point in the 17-game season. So to me, the Dallas Cowboys getting Tyler Guyton and then getting Cooper Beebe, addressing the offensive line. You lost out on Tyron Smith. You weren't going to sign him anyway because that's a lot of money for a dude that's always injured. And then you lost Tyler Biadasz, which to me was one of the bigger things because that's going to a conference rival, right? He went to the Washington Commanders with Dan Campbell, who was your defensive coordinator, who is now over there. Now you get a guy in Cooper Beebe who's interchangeable, who's just like a Zach Martin type of player. Now you have him at center, and that's what the Dallas Cowboys have always had, was a really good center. You've had Travis Frederick. You go over to Tyler Biadasz now, and you got this guy, Cooper Beebe, who's an interchangeable guy that you can put in all these different positions. You address the offensive line. You got younger on the offensive line, and you got more value now at the offensive line. Then, of course, their issue last year and an issue that was going to face them this year with the retirement of Leighton Vander Esch was linebacker. So what do they go and do? They go ahead and get themselves a linebacker as well. They went really Notre Dame heavy. But to me, that was a thing that I felt like they should have done, and they addressed the positions they needed. Cornerback, to me, not so much. I felt like that was a pick. Maybe you go add something there. But I also feel like you need to address the defensive backfield, and the more cornerbacks you have, it's a luxury position, right? The Dallas Cowboys with Bland. The Dallas Cowboys with Trayvon Diggs coming back now. You have 2 shutdown corners. You can have a guy who's in the slot position now in that nickel package and then dime package, and you've got guys that fill up the defense. The Dallas Cowboys had a phenomenal defense last year. Now you've addressed the positions that you need, and to me, that's a great draft. It's not sexy names. It's not the names that you want to go out there and get. It's not the diva positions, but it's addressing the need of this team, and this team has drafted very well for the last 2 decades.
I don't disagree with the fact that they certainly looked at the needs and filled those to some extent. Notice I say to some extent because you still did not get a running back. I'm going back to my old argument. And of course, it's to be determined how these guys are ultimately going to pan out in the NFL. Yes, we say they addressed their needs, but of course, they also lost their defensive coordinator. How is Diggs going to be coming back from the ACL injury? These new kids you're putting on the offensive line. Obviously, they're spring chickens. They're learning the system. Yes, they have done a great job of drafting in the past. Do I think they had as good a draft this year? I do not. I just do not for a variety of reasons. Again, ultimately, because I'm not disagreeing with what they did in the first round, okay? But I am, to me, perturbed, and I say perturbed because how in the Sam hell do you get rid of your starting running back and not at least draft one? Just one, okay? And obviously, some of the best diamonds in the rough are available in the later rounds when it comes to running backs, okay?
Darren Jones.
Yes, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Who?
Oh, yeah, he's a Packers fan.
Sixth round, right?
Fifth
round, was it?
Fifth round.
Played fifth round.
Also, you know what? Shout out to UTEP getting 2 players drafted.
Three.
Three players. That's right. 3 players drafted by UTEP. Colorado. Yeah. 0 players drafted for the 3rd year in a row.
There you go. Yeah,
Good job, Dion.
Great. Yeah, right. Prime what? Congratulations to the Miners. That's a tribute to that program.
Yeah.
3 guys and drafted in lower rounds. 4th round. What I believe was the kid from.
I think Tyrese Knight going over to Seattle. That's a huge pickup for them.
4th rounder. Right?
Yeah, and for me, that's an underrated player because whenever you look at the way that he plays, he's got that Micah Parsons type of motor. He's a little bit smaller than Micah Parsons, but he's got that type of motor and that drive. And I did an interview with him earlier before the year started, and we'll be able to. I'll probably share that out there a little bit later as well. But to me, Tyrese Knight going out there to Seattle, that's a hell of a pickup. And again, like you said, it's a testament to the UTEP football program, because I want to say over the last decade they've had a handful of players drafted.
Yes,
They haven't had the success that you would want from a program like that, but it's showing that they're able to get talent. And then, of course, the UTEP football team now getting Alexander from Colorado, the transfer from Colorado, who I don't know if you saw today, Brandon, but he was lighting up Shedeur Sanders on some stuff. And then Shedeur Sanders goes to the, well, you must have been mid at very best. Oh man, we'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll keep going on with the Dallas Cowboys, but to me, like just seeing what the Dallas Cowboys did, they addressed the needs that they needed.
I hope you're right.
And that to me is the most important thing.
I just hope you're right. I just don't have a lot of optimism, and I don't want to be the negative Nelly and all that, but I just don't believe in what they've done so far. I don't think they've done nothing. They've done nothing in the offseason. Okay, if you look at everybody else in their division, everybody else has gotten better. They have not. Okay, despite a draft that you could say they address their needs, but who doesn't address their needs in the draft? Okay, everybody does it for a reason. Everybody.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Homework. The Atlanta Falcons are run by a bunch of schmucks, as are the Dallas Cowboys. And when you're run by a bunch of schmucks, and you have to explain to the owner why you're taking a quarterback when you just signed Cousins to a huge deal. Okay, yeah, you could always have an insurance quarterback. You know, Love worked out for Green Bay and so on. But to me, you got one of the best receivers in the whole draft available to give Cousins another great weapon. I just don't get it. That to me, that was definitely the head scratching move of the whole draft. One of the biggest head scratching moves we've seen in years. And by the way, not only do you have a guy coming off an Achilles injury, but you bring a quarterback in that's extremely injury prone, 2 Achilles and a shoulder injury. Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Falcons. I agree with you, but like I look at the Falcons lineup. You've got Drake May, or not Drake May, Drake London, that wide receiver. He's a phenomenal. Yeah, and Robinson as well. You got 2 really good
tight end who's never been
Kyle Pitts,
the way he should be.
Kyle Pitts, and then at running back you've got Bijan Robinson as well. So offensively, I think they're going to be all right. I thought what they should have done there is go once again. The way that I always feel is like you go O-line, right? If you're a team that's struggling, you got the pieces, but you don't have the protection for the quarterback, you're going to suck. How do I know that? I watched all of Tony Romo's career, right? Like they didn't have a good offensive line, and whenever they did, he gets 1 hit to the back. That's the end of his career, right? So to me, it's like you got to go offensive line there. Well, come on.
And here's the thing. That's another thing that you
Tony Romo broke his back twice for that team.
He sure did.
That's insane.
Okay, so that's another thing. So Dak's a lame duck quarterback. He's going to stay 1 more year, then he's going to be gone like a fart in the wind. You don't pick up a quarterback as well. And granted, the kid that Penix kid that you had in your mock draft going to the Cowboys like 24 or whatever was gone, right, already? The point is that they don't even address that potential need, and that to me is a very big potential need. So why do I give the Cowboys a C draft? Because they did shitty.
I don't think it's a need at all. You got Cooper Rush, who's been there with the team for a while. He's had success. He's lost 1 game in the times that he started for the Cowboys.
Let's just start bringing back all these old Cowboys players while we're at it. I know he's okay. Yeah, he did good in the Minnesota game on Halloween, and yeah, he did get on a streak when Dak was injured. I get it. Is he a starting QB? I don't know. You know what?
The guy's won 7 of his 8 starts, and Brandon's like, yeah, he's lucky.
They're not preparing very well for the future, and that's and sure, I know you're going to say they are. Look at the picks they made.
No, but this is the thing that I'm going to
up on anybody.
This is the thing that I'm going to tell you is I don't think you necessarily have to prepare so far out for the future.
Okay.
Right? Because let's look at what's going to more than likely happen with Michael Penix, right? There's going to be a quarterback battle. Kirk Cousins is going to win that because he's the incumbent, and I think he's got a stronger arm, and they're paying him a lot of money. So Michael Penix is going to walk by the time his 4th year comes. Kirk Cousins will more than likely still be in the league, or you have no idea what Michael Penix is going to be, so you draft another quarterback. So that to me is a wasted first-round top 10 draft pick that Atlanta did, right? So for me, if the Dallas Cowboys are saying, look, these are what we need for now, this is what the team's going to look like now, let's make this the last hurrah for Dak, you've got a good offense, you've got a good defense. Maybe all you need now is just a little more depth. They addressed the depth at the offensive line, and I think that was what they needed to do. They addressed the depth on the defensive line and the linebacker. that's what they needed
We'll
to do.
agree to disagree. When they're 8-9 next year, or whatever, how many games they're going to be, 17 games, and and they're just pathetic because everybody else in their division has gotten better. Then we can say that I was right and you were wrong for a change.
I don't think everyone else in the division has gotten better. I think I think Philadelphia getting a cornerback in the draft, great for them, right? Washington, to me, I don't think
everybody went out. We already discussed this. Everybody's gone after a running back except for the Cowboys.
God, you don't need running backs.
Yes, you do. You need a good running back. I mean, it helps. It helps to have a decent, at least a solid running back. They don't.
I also have to remind everybody that Brandon the Iceman Cohn, who was the man who was longing for defense in the NBA All-Star game. So his version of football is going back to the mid-1990s and apparently 1840, where they ran the ball.
Those were good times. Those were good times. Back in my day.
What you need yourself is a stout, fast running back.
A stout, fast running back. The running game is not important anymore in the NFL. I agree.
Again, we're out here at Thorin's Tavern, 3390 Rich Beem Boulevard. $3 Shiner Box and Ziegenbach Draft Pints. $3 Rumplements. $2.50 Twisted Teas. $3 Fire and Ice Shots. Brandon's going to take one of those a little bit later on with me today as well. And, of course, half off hot dogs all day long. The hot dogs have been coming out. They've been looking really good.
You like the wieners, and I know that. So they look good, right? Okay. What about you, Rabbi? Are you
you're the expert.
Yeah. Rabbi, I love you. You're my buddy. It's good to see you, and I missed you, too.
Andrew off the top rope on Brandon right there.
Like the way I have my brim down like this now, I'm kind of like
I do. You got me a
little
little jealous here, so now I got to pull mine down.
Tough,
there we go. Yeah.
Start bringing this hat from now on.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Well, I think the next show I'll bite the bullet with the lights and we'll be inside.
Please.
Yeah.
And air conditioning.
Okay, so
It's plenty windy out here.
I don't care about the air conditioning.
It's actually in a month you'll be wishing it was 85 degrees.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's more or less half my body weight from sweat right now.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, me too.
I mean, hey, you know what? Again, the dry sauna.
3 fat guys.
We are losing weight out here on fire and ice.
We should have a restaurant called 3 Fat Guys or 3 Hausers.
I think 3 Hausers would be better than 3 fat guys.
Yeah, we get every Jew in town to come. 3 Hausers. That's funny,
Well, what is Hauser?
Hauser
Like a fat guy, like a Haas?
pig. It's Yiddish for a pig.
Oh, okay. This is our Yiddish word of the day.
There you go. Hauser.
Another leading El Paso radio specialty.
C-H. Hauser. You are a Hauser, my friend.
Oh, there's the music. Yes. Actually, I think this is the one.
Man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Sorry.
You scream so loud, my ears ringing now.
I love that
Pop
song.
there a little bit. Yeah. Like enthusiasm. Yeah.
You know, but that's why we lead not just El Paso, but I'm willing to say all the sports media in Yiddish words of the day.
I would believe that one.
I would like to get another Shiner Bock, but I want to get like a bottle for the ASMR crowd. It's been a while since we placated to our ASMR crowd, so maybe we can get one of those coming up here in just a little bit here on Fire and Ice. But we continue. We're watching the NBA playoffs right now. The Boston Celtics with a 71-46 lead. I want to say it's still in the third quarter right now.
I can't see
10 minutes
I can't
left.
see the
10 and a
suns
half
in my
left
eyes.
in the,
I can't see.
Look at the other TV over
I can't
there.
still-
I can
I
kind of
can't
see it
tell.
over here.
I really,
As I
couldn't-
put my
I think
hand
it's the
shadow
third
in
quarter,
Brandon's
isn't it?
face.
I didn't have to do any of that. I can see it perfectly. What the hell's going on?
10 minutes left in the third.
Third quarter.
Wow, you guys are.
Look, see now.
He's got an excuse. He got to turn right.
How
in
about
here.
this? Can you see that?
Bigger than your schmeck.
Schmeckle. That's another one. Schmeckle.
Now these hot dogs are ginormous.
I like schmeckles.
Andrew, if you
I
can.
forgot we can curse again now.
Yeah. Although you
And be
did
vulgar.
you did give Dave a heart attack that one time, so we got that working in our favor. Yeah. What the fuck? Okay, so we're watching the NBA playoffs right now. We have the Miami Heat on the road against the Boston Celtics right now. The Celtics looking like they're about to close this one out now, Brandon, because the Celtics to me are just an overwhelming team. Whenever they're firing on all cylinders, whenever you've got Kristaps Porzingis there at the 5 at 7'3", right, and he can shoot the shot from the outside. He's just such an offensive weapon that it's so hard to defend against, right? Then you got a 6'11" Jason Tatum. You got Jaylen Brown there as well. Like this is just an all around team that to me is just so much more overwhelming but they don't have that killer instinct. I cannot see this team winning the NBA Finals.
No, I don't think they're going to. I think clearly your champion is going to come, out of the West, and I say that because I just think that it is definitely more powerful than the East. The East is the weaker conference, and Boston is a decent team, and they do have an all-star cast right now. But to me, I'm still going to say that based on how they're playing, I either have Denver representing the West, or if the Mavs can get their heads out of their
Minnesota,
man. Minnesota's pretty good. I mean, I like the Mavs, but I'm definitely staying with Denver right now. I like the first round 4-1 victory over the Lakers, and I mean, obviously the Joker is as good as it gets. He's the best player in the NBA right now. I mean, I just don't see anybody being able to dethrone them right now in the West.
And that's the thing for me as well. I think Denver is just so overwhelming. And they have the championship experience, right? This is a team that earned their way to get their championship. Once again, I think Boston needs to play every game. If they were to face off in the NBA Finals, Boston would need to play every game at just the highest possible tier.
Trying to get you one, but they already won.
Is this for me or him?
For tip
I
here.
didn't know you drank Michelob, but you don't drink Michelob.
So I don't drink.
Oh, you don't?
Can I have it then?
Yeah, that's yours. Yeah.
He doesn't drink Michelob. What do you want, a Shiner?
Yes, can I get a Shiner, please? Yes. Yes.
So I guess I'll drink.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead. Cheers. Salud. Well, how do you say cheers in Yiddish?
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
That
was
literally means
stupid.
to
I
life.
can't believe. Yeah.
No, L'chaim. When we've celebrated Passover recently, everyone's like L'chaim.
How was Passover for you? I didn't even
It
ask.
was awesome. Well, it was obviously I was a little sad. And you remember I told you
Yes.
why, unfortunately.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it was a nice Seder. I went to 2 Seders. I went to one last Tuesday and then one Saturday. Was invited by my wonderful family friends, and Passover is one of my favorites because it really does teach you about the value of being free and being obviously you celebrate your freedom and all that, and ultimately you explain why it's different than any other night, and you get to eat like Buster's gang, and you get to drink wine, and you tell me that's a bad time ever, right?
No, I mean I've always wanted to just picture a drunken off wine Brandon the Iceman Cone.
Well, I mean it 4 glasses, it kind of helps you. It would take triple that amount, though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, well, I'm not no lightweight over here. Thank you so much. Once again, come on out here to Thorin's Tavern. They have the $3 Shiners and Ziegenbox on Wednesday, $3 Rumps every single day, $2.50 Twisted Teas, and then of course the $3 Fire and Ice Shot. And on Wednesdays they have the half-off hot dogs all day long. You're not going to find a better deal here on hot dogs in El Paso. Brandon's mouth is watering right now from just the amount of wiener talk that's been going on the show right now. But going back to the NBA Finals or the NBA playoffs and all that, I was kind of surprised, Brandon, because you saw the Phoenix Suns mortgage their future. I don't know if you know this or not. 0 first-round draft picks from now until 2030. 0 second-round draft picks from 2025 to 2030. They have 1 draft pick in the next half decade. And this is a team that has an older Kevin Durant, a getting older Devin Booker, and it just seems like they're not going to be able to get it. Them getting Bradley Beal was not the answer for it. This team seems like they're about to be in a very bad situation, and the only piece I think they have to trade would be Booker and Durant and just try to start all over.
Yeah, that's been a failed experiment. I mean, you tried to create a super team there, and it just proves that you can't create chemistry when chemistry just isn't there. I mean, there's a difference between having an actual super team or having a team with 2 great stars and maybe some good role players, but ultimately it just has not panned out for them, and they're definitely going to have to start from square one. Very disappointing to see him make a first round exit. I don't think many people could have predicted that. Last year, same thing, goof. But I know they made it farther last year, and Durant didn't have much time to get ready as a Sun. But point is that it's just not really panning out for them so far.
Well, and this was a team that 3 years ago, Brandon, was in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
Without Kevin Durant, this team was in the NBA Finals. You had Chris Paul, once again, an older Chris Paul, but he was still doing the job that you needed. You traded all the assets away to get Kevin Durant, and it just seems like it. And I questioned this at the beginning, right? Was Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they're basically the same type of player. Why would you have them on there, right? Whenever you have super teams, right, you got the guy like Kawhi Leonard that can be your silent assassin when you need to, but he focuses much more on defense. James Harden in LA with the Clippers, he's the type of guy that he's going to be able to just get his whenever it's time for him to get his. He's a walking bucket, right? Plus, he also gets the foul line. And then Paul George, your athletic scorer that comes out of everywhere, right? Like he can just score at any time at will, it seems. Phoenix doesn't have that. Phoenix has a lot of issues with them right now. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant are all basically the same guy. It's like the Spider-Man meme, right? Like that's what they have going on right here. And you look at what the rest of the NBA has. Minnesota went in there and just took their cookies. Look at what the Dallas Mavericks have with Luka Doncic and with Kyrie Irving, right? Like you got two ball-dominant dudes, but they're two different type of players. And then you look at what the Clippers have. Look at what Denver has, which is the best team in the NBA right now. And you've got to look at Phoenix right now and say, man, their future looks a lot more bleak than that of the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, again, you spend a lot of money, it's always not going to translate to being a potential superstar. And unfortunately, the bottom line is that, again, it has to do with, again, you mentioned, they're not going to have a lot of good picks coming up here in the future. That's going to hurt the legitimacy of that franchise, and they're just spending a bunch of money to do what? I mean, at this point. So, I mean, if you look at some of the other teams in the NBA who are getting better, there's a reason why they're getting better. And again, people forget it. I think people forget quite often that no matter how much money you spend, if you don't necessarily have good management and a good coaching staff, and ultimately people to be able to run the big organization, to be able to run the superstars, then you're going to have a big issue, and that is losing in the first round of playoffs, no matter how many gazillions of dollars you end up spending.
Brandon was talking about it getting better. You know what else is getting better, Brandon? The sun setting.
Oh yeah. Thank God, yes.
And as the sun sets, it's got to make us think about the sun setting on the career of one LeBron James. We saw him make another unceremonious first round exit from the playoffs for LeBron James. It's always win a championship or it's a failed season in LA. It's always that way with LeBron James as well. Now we've seen it happen just year after year after year. Yes, this team won a championship in the bubble. I don't know how many people look at that as a legitimate championship, but whenever I look at the LA Lakers and what they've got going on around them, man, they've got some problems. That's another team handcuffed by not having draft picks. But now the fact is the only piece that you have to trade is LeBron James, and what are you going to get for him? I don't think you're going to get a whole lot if you try to trade Anthony Davis, at least not a haul like a Kevin Durant would get you, because Anthony Davis is always hurt. Yes, he's a good defensive player. I know he said that he's the best defensive player in the NBA. He's clearly not. He's been getting worked by Nikola Jokic for the last, 15 games that they've played together, and it hasn't even been pretty, right? So for me, the LA Lakers are one of these teams that, yeah, they had a lot of high aspirations. We shouldn't have put any aspirations on this team given the way that they were built and how they went out last year. But now it's another year of LeBron James leaving unceremoniously early in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and Denver clearly has their number. I mean, they just should never play Denver again. They'll be in good shape. This is a team that definitely, to me, has underachieved, and certainly,
even with that championship, you say they underachieved.
I mean, yeah, because you expect more things, especially from a team led by LeBron James, who is still one of the best players in the league. And some people would argue and say the best, but I don't think he's the best player in the league. But look, the 2020 championship was a championship, and in the end, you should be into the fact that at least you won one. But it was a weird year. I don't know that it deserves an asterisk per se, because of the whole bubble thing and the way you resume the season after 3 months. Because it's a different story if you just end up playing the postseason and you're playing tired players and injuries and all that. It's like you rejuvenated everybody. So that 2020 year was weird. I mean, in the end, they'll still be remembered as winning one with LeBron. But that team, to me, has definitely regressed the last few years. Is he going to go anywhere? No. I mean, he's staying with the Lakers. He's going to be there for the rest of his career. He probably plays 2-3 more years. They make the playoffs every year, but he's never winning that championship.
So if you watch the game and you watch the press conference, they asked LeBron James, like, hey, how are you feeling about this? Like, how do you feel that this could have been your final game as an LA Laker? He has a long, dramatic pause. LeBron James taking the acting classes, man. He's doing it right. And he says, you know what? I'm not going to answer that question. Next question, right? But that spoke volumes. And then following that press conference, you hear just out of nowhere that the Lakers are interested in drafting Bronny James.
Yeah.
So that's the way the Lakers are going to keep LeBron around, is by drafting his son. His son's not good enough to play in the NBA.
No, but you got to entice them to stay, whatever, pull a shtick and do whatever's necessary. And you bring Bronny there, and boom, that changes everything. So I mean, that is a total game changer, no doubt.
So about a week ago, we also had the Ryan Garcia match, and it just came out on ESPN right now that he tested positive for PEDs the day before.
Well, there you go. I mean,
Explains the win.
There's a reason why he won. I mean, you test positive for PEDs, and that could be the reason why, without a doubt.
I mean, roids and boxing, it's probably a pretty good combination.
Absolutely. I mean, roids and a sport are a good combination, are they not?
I think baseball needs more roids.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, every sport needs more roids. I'm happy with it because it makes it fun. It makes it fun. Roids should all be legal in sports because it's basically,
that should be the combine, right? Like you just get injected with as many roids as possible, see how your body reacts. If you die, obviously you weren't good enough to play in the league, guy.
That's terrible. How dare you? You're horrible. Yeah, shame on you for being human.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to be superhuman to play in that game.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's time for us to pull the plug on this show. We did the whole show in the sun.
I liked it.
I kind of want to do more, but I also feel like I just want to get some food in me right now because I haven't eaten since about 11 o'clock.
Probably one agrees.
Of course I do. I'm a big fat guy.
Try a hot dog?
Well, only if you eat it with
the
me.
Pope Catholic?
We Lady and Trampet.
Let's do the wiener.
Let's.
I can't wait to share a wiener with you. You take the right, I'll take the left.
I feel like that's a good place to end the show. Goodbye, everybody. There's nothing else